Well, your tone on Monday morning advises the rest of your week. Your tone as you start the week will determine how your week will start and also end. Good morning and welcome to this fresh new week with us here on Good Morning Uganda. Myself, Olive Monica Najima, Jerampo Sonko and Chirabo Robert Nyonyintono. We are here once again to start your Monday but also to start your week with important updates, business updates, tourism updates. It's a lot and we are here to give you all that and even so much more. Now, Parliament has condemned the fact that workers at Hoima Stadium are being forced to take HIV tests, and those that have been found positive have had their contracts they have had their contracts written off, which means they cannot work at this stadium. Now, according to Parliament, this is wrong and contravenes the laws of Uganda and also human rights laws. So the Minister for Primary Education, Muriku Kaduchu, has said she's going to look into the matter and come to the bottom of it. And she said if in the event reports come out and it is indeed true that workers have been terminated because of their HIV positive status, then government will deal with those that will be found to be culprits. But now, coming back to our news today, I see reports coming in indicating that Israel has attacked Lebanon and about 105 people have been killed. And that being said, we also have people that have died in a flood in Nepal. That and so much more are some of the stories that we'll be bringing to you. But for now, let me check on Robert Chirabo Nyonyintono right over in Studio B. Good morning, Robert.
A lovely morning to you. How are you, lady in red and black?
Well, I'm good. How are you?
I'm very fine. The weekend was very okay. Arsenal won again. Man United was hit very seriously. But also, on the legal fraternity, Isaac Semakade being voted, elected as the president of the Uganda Law Society is also something that really brings so much, because I couldn't imagine that Isaac Semakade was able to defeat Isaac Tukunda with 2,101 votes, and the other one got 898. Now, it seems trends are changing, Olive. Previously, if you talked about a lawyer, by just appearance and everything, it wouldn't match to Isaac Semakade.
That's right.
But now there have been so much change that when you look at the previous presidents of the Uganda Law Society, and here comes in Isaac, it speaks so much of this generation and how things are changing.
That's very true. When I look at Oscar Chihika, who became a judge in the High Court last year, and then I compare him to Isaac Semakade, because Oscar Chihika was once the president at the Uganda Law Society, and then you also find people like Fiona Wall, to mention but a few.
Yes.
You know? But you see, he's called a rebel lawyer, and he went under, I don't remember the tagline word for word, but one of the things that he has been saying when he was campaigning, he said we have to challenge the status quo. And for me, as long as he's practicing his law rightly, and as long as he is ensuring that Ugandans get justice in different facets of life, then I'm all for it. Well, Jerome, good morning.
Good morning to you. And after the win of Semakade, my first thought was on Chirabo, because I remember we had the same conversation last week, and I told him there is no way Semakade fails to win this election simply because of how he looks or the way he carries himself. The generation has also become a rebel generation in their own capacities. And well, him sweeping those votes, by the way.
And he did sweep the votes.
He did sweep the votes. Someone was also comparing the same election to the 2016 election in the US, that you normally say that during the entire election process, the campaigns, not so many expected Donald Trump to even head to White House. But then surprisingly, you know, the ballot is very different. You may have so many numbers while you're campaigning, but when it comes to the direct ballot and who is supposed to vote, then the people who have the real numbers are always on the ticking boxes there. So again, there's so much coming in from the Uganda Law Society. Many of those who did want Semakade to go through are waiting for 2 years to see what he has to offer. But nonetheless, for those who had the chance to vote, but there was a very huge shock for many because the numbers were really too high.
Lawyers showed up and showed up.
They expected a tight race, but here we are. And
Jerome, before you actually even move on, what do you say to people who are saying that whatever he stands for is good for? It's good for human rights. Basically, it's not for a lawyer, that his demeanor and everything he stands for is not really for a lawyer or for the president of the Law Society, but for activism.
Well, I think it goes both ways. There's the element of activism, but then there's also his personality as an individual. I think, doing law school is not for jokers, honestly.
It's not a mean face.
So everybody who does law and even journalism, I should say, you've got to be up on your game. And I think besides the way he handles himself as an individual,
he gives me Elijah Shtaka vibes in dress code.
But when it comes to his
even
background,
the way he handles himself. When I saw retired Judge Kanyeihamba endorsing Semakade,
yes,
that is why I began to say that the man has the victory.
But you see, Robert, and I will borrow from what Jeremy is telling you here, I think that many people had written him off just because of what he looks like on the outside. But have we taken the time to analyze him as a lawman and what he can do and deliver as a lawyer?
Well, for those who have actually been close to him, because he also has some serious clients that are attached to him and he has been defending for some time, and many of them were backing him because they know the individual and his capabilities. But on the side of leadership, many, because of the personal wrangles he's been having in regards to activism, in regards to to the side of how he handles
taking on judges,
in interviews, exactly, and his choice of words at times are a bit harsh.
Demeanor.
But besides them being harsh, he's always right onto the money when he's speaking. He's not hiding away from telling you the truth. But here we are.
I guess that's what the Law Society needed, but we have 2 years to find out if those votes were indeed worth it or if they were wasted. We'll keep updating you on his works, but now let's get into the local news.
And we'll begin with the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, Right Honorable Robin Nabanja, who extended President Museveni's warm greetings and thanked Mauritius for the cordial relationship with Uganda. During the meeting, His Excellency Pitivisaji Rupon lauded Uganda for steering well the non-allied movement and G77 plus China, which resulted into tangible things. He thanked President Yoweri Museveni for his untireless efforts in promoting Pan-Africanism and peace in Africa. He called for a united Africa, for Africa to develop its continent. He said the continent is well endowed with natural resources, but at the same time, poor. Nabanja later held talks with the Regional Director for Africa of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, Ms. Anhuna Izayokawa. The meeting took place at Uganda House in New York. Nabanja and her guests discussed human capital development because Uganda has a young population that requires skilling. On her part, Anahuna assured the Prime Minister that UNDP will support Uganda in its development agenda and pointed out that Makerere University will be supported to become an African Golden Triangle. The Premier also met the State Minister for Foreign Affairs from the United Arab Emirates, UAE, Sheikh Shakwabut bin Nahyan Al Nahyan, and discussed issues of economic benefit for the two sister countries. Nabanja briefed the minister that Uganda selected the Alpha MBM Investment LLC of the United Arab Emirates as an agreement. The First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, Janet Museveni, expressed gratitude to UNICEF for its productive working relationship with Uganda's education sector. She described UNICEF as an invaluable partner that has provided critical technical, logistical, and financial support over the years to advance Uganda's progress towards achieving the Sustainable Development Goals by 2030. Mrs. Museveni was bidding farewell to Dr. Nurin Safilandin, the outgoing UNICEF country representative to Uganda, as he concluded his 4-year tour of duty. Accompanied by officials from the office, he met with the First Lady at State House Nakasero for farewell visit. The minister expressed her appreciation to Dr. Sefalidin's contribution to the education sector over the past 4 years and thanked God for his time in Uganda. There is breakthrough for HIV prevention as Purpose 1 study on the use of Lavankavir, a twice-yearly injectable preventable, shows 100% efficiency. The principal investigator at Makerere University, Johns Hopkins University, and MUHU Research Collaboration, Dr. Flavia Namatovu, confirms that developing studies show this is a milestone and will help in reducing new HIV infections, mostly among vulnerable women and young girls. There is hope that new HIV infections, especially among the vulnerable women and young girls, will reduce as this injection received twice every year shows 100% effectiveness for Purpose 1 study. The Purpose 1 study used this to ensure that they find out how effective it is, and she said the fact is, if taken twice a year, it helps to prevent one from acquiring HIV/AIDS. And finally, from the local scene, the two-day meeting held at the Stondom Hotel in Johannesburg, South Africa, were NRM supporters, united in the NRM South African chapter, came together for their 6th gathering. At this gathering, various Ugandans participated, including entrepreneurs and others in different sectors. The Secretary General of the NRM, Richard Odong, urged them to remember the positive contribution NRM has made to the country. He encouraged them to be united in their commitment to support and love their country. The Ambassador of Uganda to South Africa, Paul Amoru, stated that they are working diligently to provide assistance to Ugandans in South Africa. Amoru also indicated that they are doing everything possible to enhance cooperation between the two nations. The leader of the Uganda-South Africa, led by Ismailu Gezi, expressed their desire for President Museveni to address them.
And now, away from home, an update on Israel's war on both Beirut and Gaza. Israel has bombed the Kola area of Beirut in its first attack on Lebanese capital outside of the southern suburbs since the beginning of its expanded offensive. Lebanon's health ministry says the Israeli attacks have killed 105 people in the last 24 hours as army jets continue non-stop bombardment across the country. Also, Israeli troops, along with military equipment and vehicles, are reportedly amassing near Lebanon's border as fears grow about a potential ground invasion. Israel has also continued its attacks across the Gaza Strip, killing at least 28 people in the last day. The Israeli Air Force has targeted a power plant and seaport in the Yemen port cities of Hodeidah and Ras Isa, killing at least 4 people. In Gaza, at least 41,595 people have been killed and 96,251 wounded in Israeli attacks since October. In Israel, the number killed in the Hamas-led attacks on October 7th is at least 1,139, while more than 200 people were taken captive. And now moving on, 17 people, including 15 women, have been killed in 2 houses in close proximity to each other in a rural town in South Africa, according to the police. A search was underway for the suspect's National Police spokesperson, Athlenda Mathe, said in a statement on Saturday. The shooting took place on Friday night in the town of Lusikisi in Eastern Cape Province in southern South Africa. Video released by police showed the shooting occurred at 2 houses in the same neighborhood, which is a collection of rural homesteads on the outskirts of the town. 12 women and a man were killed in one house, and 3 women and a man were killed in the other house, this according to police. 4 women, 1 man and a 2-month-old baby survived. Local media reported that the people were attending a family gathering at the time of the shooting, but the motives for the killing remain unknown. And in more news, major floods and landslides in Nepal have killed at least 148 people and injured more than 100 across the Himalayan nation, this according to police reports. They say more than 50 people were still missing on Sunday after 2 days of intense rainfall, which inundated the valley around the capital, Kathmandu. About 3,600 people have been rescued so far. Residents say they jumped from one roof to another to escape rising waters, which have flooded thousands of homes. Meanwhile, crews continue to carry out rescues on helicopters and inflatable rafts. Despite rain being forecast to continue through Tuesday, there were signs of some easing on Sunday. Some residents were able to return to their mud-caked homes, while others are still cut off with major roads between towns and villages still blocked. But flash floods and landslides have caused a growing number of deaths. At least 35 bodies have been recovered from vehicles buried under landslide in Privi Highway near Kathmandu, this according to police reports. Most major motorways connecting Kathmandu with the rest of the country remain blocked in multiple places by the landslides. Now lastly, 6 people have died from an outbreak of Marburg in Rwanda, this according to the country's health ministry. Sabine Nsanzimana said most of the victims were healthcare workers in hospital intensive care units. 20 cases have been identified since the outbreak confirmed on Friday. Marburg, with a fatality rate of up to 88%, is from the same virus family as Ebola, and it spreads to humans from fruit bats and then through contact with bodily fluids of infected individuals. And the symptoms include fever, muscle pains, diarrhea, vomiting, and in some cases, death through extreme blood loss. There are no specific treatments or a vaccine for the virus, but a range of blood products, drug and immune therapies are being developed, according to the World Health Organization. Rwanda says it is intensifying contact tracing, surveillance, and testing to help contain the spread. The health minister said officials were tracking about 300 people who had come into contact with individuals affected by the Marburg virus. He urged people to avoid physical contact to help curb the spread. And authorities have previously advised the public to stay vigilant, wash their hands with clean water and soap, or sanitize and report all suspected cases. Most of the reported cases have been in the capital, Kigali, And the US Embassy in the city has advised its employees to work remotely for the next week. Now let's cross into the press review with Jerome Paul.
Well, starting off with the New Vision, reports have cast doubts on the readiness of the digital number plates. And according to the New Vision, they're saying it does seem like the trackers lack the chips that will be used in the SIMs, and also installation kits are not yet ready as well. Now, 6 have been charged with theft of IGP's escort car, and Father Grimm's, an education icon, patriot, laid to rest at Namasagali. Read about the tribute to the late. Then also President Museveni urges Ugandans to utilize Kapeka Industrial Park as Uganda celebrates 75 years of the People's Republic of China. And then also in the New Vision, 500 Mukono land titles found with no anomalies. As in matters education, First Lady unveils program to nurture future leaders. That is with the New Vision. Now off to the Daily Monitor, final exam countdown. Moment of truth for Senior 4 candidates, says the Daily Monitor. Senior 4 candidates across the country will today know what the papers they have to face under the new O-level curriculum, which was started 4 years, and then that was when they joined Senior 1. And you can easily see the countdown, 14 days to go for them to sit their finals. There's Semaka de Sheikh Stables with victory. There's a pictorial of Council Semakade at the front page of the Daily Monitor. As woman killed in city while jogging. In the other news, as banks hold largest share of government's domestic debt, according to a new business report. And in the Panorama, the decade-old land wars that have plagued Karuma. Then in matters healthy living, peeling the nutritional power of onions. As also in matters tribute on Napito's last wish and the legacy he left. Now off to Kenya, the Daily Nation. Stolen title deeds. The stolen title deeds mystery deepens. As in the Brazen, the security documents can be used to forge title deeds and commit land fraud. More details. Now impeachment loading. Defining week for Ruto and Gachagua. And the Deputy President Gachagua feud. More details are in the Daily Nation. And then Mombasa minister seized over gang rape. As in matters crime revealed, vicious cartels killing border riders. And lastly, from our press review is the Citizen from Tanzania, the devastating impact of border accidents on the Tanzanians. As MCL journalists scoop 11 awards at Asia 2023 Gala, as Tanzania leads Africa in tourism recovery in 2024. Also, government explains funding challenges for youth innovations. And then there is a report, why flow of cargo looks set to improve at Dar es Salaam port. More details with our press review this morning.
And with that, we come to the end of our news updates. Now we'll take a short break. When we come back, we are going to be speaking matters education and why it is concerned that now that World Vision has pulled out of Buikwe district, there are many and increasing school dropouts. Stick around for this conversation as it will be one informative one and also interesting.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
And for me, as long as he's practicing his law rightly and as long as he is ensuring that Ugandans get justice in different facets of life, then I'm all for it. Well, Jerome, good morning.
Good morning to you. And after the win of Semakade, my first thought was on Chirabo, because I remember we had the same conversation last week, and I told him there is no way Semakade fails to win this election simply because of how he looks or the way he carries himself. The generation has also become a rebel generation in their own capacities. And well, him sweeping those votes, by the way.
And he did sweep the votes.
He did sweep the votes. Someone was also comparing the same election to the 2016 election in the US, that you normally say that during the entire election process, the campaigns, not so many expected Donald Trump to even head to White House. But then surprisingly, the ballot is very different. You may have so many numbers while you're campaigning, but when it comes to the direct ballot and who is supposed to vote, then the people who have the real numbers are always on the ticking boxes there. So again, there's so much coming in from the Uganda Law Society. Many of those who did want Semakade to go through are waiting for 2 years to see what he has to offer. But nonetheless, for those who had the chance to vote, but there was a very huge shock for many because the numbers were really too high.
They expected
they expected a tight race, but here we are.
And Jerome, before you actually even move on, what do you say to people who are saying that whatever he stands for is good for it's good for human rights? Basically, it's not for a lawyer, that his demeanor and everything he stands for is not really for a lawyer or for the president of the Law Society, but for activism.
Well, I think it goes both ways. There's the element of activism, but then there's also his personality as an individual. I think, doing law school is not for jokers, honestly.
It's not a mean face.
Yeah, so everybody who does law and even journalism, I should say, you've got to be up on your game. And I think besides the way he handles himself as an individual,
he gives me Elijah Shtaka vibes in dress code.
But when it comes to his
even
background,
the way he handles himself. When I saw retired Judge Kanyeihamba endorsing Semakade,
yes,
that is why I began to say that the man has the victory.
But you see, Robert, and I will borrow from what Jeremy is telling you here, I think that many people had written him off just because of what he looks like on the outside. But have we taken the time to analyze him as a lawman and what he can do and deliver as a lawyer?
Well, for those who have actually been close to him, because he also has some serious clients that are attached to him and he has been defending for some time, and many of them were backing him because they know the individual and his capabilities. But on the side of leadership, many, because of the personal wrangles he's been having in regards to activism, in regards to to the side of how he handles
taking on judges,
in interviews, exactly, and his choice of words at times are a bit harsh.
Demeanor.
But besides them being harsh, he's always right onto the money when he's speaking. He's not hiding away from telling you the truth. But here we are.
I guess that's what the Law Society needed, but we have 2 years to find out if those votes were indeed worth it or if they were wasted. We'll keep updating you on his works, but now let's get into the local news.
And we'll begin with the Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda, Right Honorable Robin Anabanja, who extended President Museveni's warm greetings and thanked Mauritius for the cordial relationship with Uganda. During the meeting, His Excellency Pitivisaji Rupon lauded Uganda for steering well the non-aligned.
Beg your pardon. It's time for our news brill. I'm Olive Monica Najima with Joram Paul Sonko and Shirabo Robert Nyonyintono. Now, government and other health partners have been advised to look into the issue of increasing school dropouts. Case in point is Wikwe district, where it is reported that there is a high number of school dropouts, especially now that World Vision, that had invested so much, over 15 billion, into the education sector and also the health sector and other types of livelihood sectors in the district. After its folding out of the district and the business, now there is question, how does the district survive after all this money that has been injected in different projects is now out? How do children stay in school? But also it opens a question for the broader country, where we are asking, because it's not only Wikwe district, there are so many numbers of school dropouts in different parts of the country. And the big question here is, how does the government ensure that children stay in school? And for those districts that have had development partners like World Vision supporting them in the education sector, how can they now continue continue without this funding, but ensure that the projects that were started do not come to a natural early death? That's the conversation we're delving into, and it would be very important for us to hear from you. What's your say on this through WhatsApp number 0709 602 592. Now, Robert, I'll come to you in Studio 2 first. Well, it shows that, well, I'll give an example of Buikwe district where it is said that World Vision has injected over 15 billion shillings into the education and also health sector in the district. But now there is fear that the projects may come to an end because the funding will be no more. So looking at this example and also looking at other cases around the country, first of all, let's look at what is noted as the major contributing factor for the children of our country dropping out of school. And then second, how do districts ensure that they keep the children in school?
Well, thank you so much, Olive. It's very sad that when we look at our dropout rate at primary, it's about 45% of these children drop out of school. When you look at how many enter at primary 1, how many drop out at senior 4, then senior 6, they're not forgetting university, the numbers are very alarming. Now also the challenge sometimes I have with our donors or development partners, they do great work to us. They help us in one way or the other. But most of the programs don't have what we call a sustainability plan. That in the fate this program comes to an end, how have you prepared the beneficiaries to sustain themselves thereafter? If you bring a feeding program in a school, and this is going to attract learner retention in school, after the 5 years, how are these students, what plans is there for these pupils to still get meals? If you're giving scholastic materials, how do we ensure? Are you also looking at if it's feeding? Most of these schools have huge chunks of land. Have you empowered them in any way to grow food that when you stop sending the dollars, you've come up with a plan that they will have enough food to see them through? Now, you asked me what are the causes. Why have these high dropout rates? First and foremost, it is poverty. You'll find that many of these students, these pupils, drop out because their parents don't have the money. Government of Uganda with development partners in Karamoja carried out a project and was feeding children in school. Olive and our viewers and Sonko, listen to what happened. Retention in school and enrollment shot by 95%. Because parents would at least say, if I don't have what to feed you, go, because at school you will have break, you will have lunch. And what does that prompt? Then they will stay in school. We talk about universal primary education, but our viewers, and we say feeding is not part of it. Even us, even you who is watching me, by one, you want to eat something. Now look at this 10-year-old, this 11-year-old, who has no plan for lunch. Because the parents can't afford or have not taken it as a priority. 3, you have issues of culture. Very many young girls are dropping out of school and ending up married. A parent will look at a girl in some parts of this country as a commodity. If someone is willing to give them their 5 cows, 6 cows, what worth? One, even when a child is born, he will tell you as a desukari, because they believe there's something they're going to get from this child. So cultural issues that at certain times they tolerate these young girls being married off is also another problem. But also the boys, away from the element of poverty, then comes in work. I've seen young boys who began small, hawkering eggs, some in quarries, and the child wakes up and thinks they are earning more than what they should even earn. And he can say, I'm I'm studying to get a job. Now I have a job, and if I master this, I'll do better. So culture, poverty, and sometimes also mindset change is a problem. A person tells you, I didn't go to school, I'm better. And he doesn't see a reason, ignorance, he doesn't see a reason why he should cough a lot of money. He says, omwana kamutwale mu garage. Why would I make my child waste so and so graduated, is jobless? For me, I'm doing better. Forgetting, because they're ignorant, levels of ignorance. And finally, we have high levels of illiteracy, even in the parents. So they find it hard to appreciate the value of education. They think because they sailed through without education, so their children can sail through without education.
Well, thank you, Robert. Now, statistics indicate that 45% of primary school children drop out, and 30% of secondary school children drop out before completing their education. So what this means is that when children join P1, if they are 100, by the time P7 comes, that is 7 years later, 45% of them have already dropped out. And then those who join Senior 1, by the time Senior 6 is done, 30% have dropped out, and this is due to some of the factors Robert mentioned, poverty and child labor, which is more prominent among male children, but also there is the issue of early marriage when it comes to girls, and then there is gender discrimination when it comes to girls and even boys who are in school. Then there is poor quality education in some places because of poor training of teachers, that among others. But now, Jerome, we have seen the problems, and I'm sure many of us know what the leading factors for school dropouts across the country are. But the question here is, what are local authorities and what is the government doing to mitigate these numbers?
Well, the most worrying situation, and with the case in point in Buikwe, is you're looking at over 15 years of World Vision investing heavily in most of these essential sectors, health, education, meaning there was a gap already for the past 15, 16 years.
Yes.
There has been a gap. And if World Vision has been tapping into that gap, then that clearly implies that the local authorities have not been doing enough.
And if Robert says there is no sustainability plan, don't you think that probably this is the point where we stop blaming the development factors and now hold local authorities accountable?
Because the truth is, after World Vision is, bailing out, it is now back to us again. It is the central government, or it's even the local government, or whether we shall have an NGO coming in that situation, or let's say a funder, but it's not something we're supposed to be relying on.
That's true.
So the local government has not been doing enough, and I'll say it rightly, because if you have all these situations, there was a UNESCO report in 2020, and of course this was during COVID, that 1 in 5 children do not complete primary.
So that is among the 45%
exactly
of school dropouts in primary school.
Meaning every year we expect dropouts. That is from primary level. And that is alarming, because you would have loved to have these dropouts maybe after Senior 4. Because there there is a chance of upgrading. But at primary level, the chance has become very minimal, because you don't know where this child is going to.
Exactly.
They're either going into child labor, or the girls who are unfortunate enough will be forced into early marriages. Now, the local governments, I think on their side of things, they're always doing the administrative work. Which administrative work in here is only monitoring and going to schools to see, do the schools have what it takes? And of course, this does not even happen every other month.
And not for every school, they just do a sample.
And that is because they are doing a survey, maybe to report to the Ministry of Education that this school is under this condition. And in most cases, you'll find that if at all the Ministry of Education does not ask for that report, the local governments are not going to care about it. But then also, Olive, there is something about how we perceive education in Uganda and in some of the areas. If you ever happen to sit down with most of the parents and ask them, why do you put your child in school? Not so many of them have a genuine reason. It's more like it's a life cycle. That,
explain?
You know, why am I saying a life cycle? It's more like people think today you've woken up and you've started a family, you have a child. After 1, 2, 3, you take them to school.
So it's what you do.
It's
they
what
don't
you do.
think about.
So they don't think about
how
why.
important the why.
Yes, it is just because it's the order of the day.
What should be the why, Jerome?
And you know, the why is you as a parent, you're investing money here. Okay, sometimes you realize you may not be taking them to first-class schools as that, but there's energy and there's time, and the money you're investing in your child is development.
That's right.
Now, either you want your child to be like you, or you want your child to have a better future than the one you created for yourself and them while growing up. Now, when you look at, someone once used an example of the Ugandan dream, saying that at times we find ourselves fixed in a small kind of basket, that our dream is you either wake up, rather after getting education, you get a job, you get a house, you get a plot of land, you're done with life.
I think with plot of land, you've even gone very far.
You get, you say you get a car, you have an apartment, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Now, it means even on the side of the children, even today, you'll find in town where you ask a parent, why is your child going to school? They do not have a reason they are pushing their child to continue studying. It's only a few of those who remind their children that, well, when you study, this and this is what you're going to be able to achieve. And when you go into some of these schools, you'll find there. And there's the fortunate bit is that even when you go in rural areas, there are also some students who are living or who have grown up under, you know, humble backgrounds, who know why they're at school. They will tell you, I am pushing to be at school because of how my family is, and I want to put myself there. So,
Jerome, are you saying that for us to curb the rate of school dropouts, we also need to have parents that are educated? And educated here doesn't really mean formal, but parents that have an understanding of why it is important to educate a child.
Because let's face it, Olive, you've dealt with so many individuals on your side of things, and I've also dealt with many. You'll realize that there's something about school in our generation and why it is important for everyone to go into school. So even when you go into the local governments, for example, taking me back to your question, is they're not even doing the mindset thing of trying to tell the parents why it is important, because you cannot be having all those numbers of dropouts every year in rural settings when the local government authorities do know that we have schools in the area. It's not even just local settings, but schools across the country have
maybe, Olive, if I may chip in there.
Though maybe the biggest number may be coming in from rural areas and districts like Buikwe. And Robert, you have something to say, but before you even ask, say it, I would like to ask you a question after you say what you want to say. When we look at these projects, a case in point still, Buikwe District, 15 billion shillings invested by World Vision. And earlier you did say that development partners do not give us a sustainability plan. And now my question to you is, local authorities know that the development partners at some point, because there is always a point program of at some point or after these years they are pulling out. So how best can local authorities in different districts create sustainable plans so that when development partners pull out, the projects they've been working on don't die because we don't have money? So we need to come up with a sustainability plan by local authorities. And how best can this be done? But start with what you wanted to
what comment. I wanted to say actually is a bit similar to what you've just said, because I was looking at Zombo, where 70% of the girls fell out of school. That is a very big number in primary. And I was looking at, yes, we talked about the 45% rates of fallout for primary, but secondary is 30%. Yes. Still, that is a very big number of those that do not complete their education system. Now, sustainability, first, we can't exclude the donors. That as you bring a program to us and saying we are coming in Buikwe District, we are going to feed school-going children. Not so? Yes. Yes. Why? Because we've discovered that feeding keeps children in school. Most of the children who come from very poor families, we must accept that even a meal is hard to come by. Am I deceiving?
No, you're not.
There are families where they will eat lunch at maybe about 5, and that may mark the end of it. Now, if these families know that children are feeding, and that's why most donors are coming in, feeding program. You as the donors, some component of your funding should be looking at how we can provide food as a school. I talked about gardening, because most of these schools have chunks of land. Most of the government schools we are talking about have chunks of land. How do we introduce agriculture to these people? How do we ensure that when we pull out, they have acres and acres of maybe cassava, beans, alternative things, you know, maize, that they will just have to take to the maize mill and have the posho. You see, it is part of that component that as you're giving us money, let's have this money for this. Second, a mindset change. I've seen today many donors are very eager into putting money into that is democratic governance. But how do we meet these parents, the local leaders, and bring the value of education to them? Like Sonko said, that some parents don't even appreciate the value of education. So how do we have a concept of mindset change that the LC will feel bad when it's moving through its community, it is time to go to school, and it's having these young kids?
I remember, Robert, back in the day,
yes,
when you didn't go to school, when we had community parenting, someone would randomly ask, Olive, why aren't you at school?
Why aren't you at school?
But today we don't have that.
So how do we
bring in the parents, the community, the local leaders, and even the development partners?
Now, the local leaders, I've talked about the development partners. The local leaders enforcing the law. I was in Rira some time back, and they had an ordinance for someone found in the bar before 5. I saw prisoners who were putting on white. And I asked, but we had visited prisons, who are these? They said that uniform was tailor-made for those found drinking. Now, you can't be a local leader in a community where young children are not going to school. You see them loitering day in, day out. You must tell these parents there's universal primary education. So why isn't your child going in universal primary education? Yes, the standards may not be desirable,
but it is
for the
school.
best.
It is still
but
school.
In Buganda, we say nyamanto no kaya neri munkwao, meaning that first get that little, then make your arguments. You get it? So you keeping your child home, for us we are saying take him at least to learn how to read and write and speak English.
Thank you, Robert. Now, Jerome, as your parting shots, what policies should the government adopt to curb the ongoing school dropout rates? Because 45% is quite high.
Yes, it's
and because as a country, we need to stop boasting of having a largely semi-literate citizenry and go to largely literate. Because at P7, I think, in my opinion, you're not even semi-literate.
And, well, I think it's also time we started holding the government accountable for some of these things, because Robert has said there is that need of taking the students back to schools, because they are UCE schools and USCE schools rather than UPE schools. Yes, they are there, but now the government has to ensure that they also provide the necessities or the facilities to keep this education growing. Because as much as we are saying they're not meeting the standard, it's now the government to make sure that these schools are up to the standard.
Because this is their initiative, yes, these are their schools.
Because if it's an initiative by the government, you have to make sure that at least you provide.
Now, you've just reminded me, in one of the neighboring countries, I won't mention the name, but it is said that what the government over there did, they made private school uninteresting. They put in place certain strategies that made public school and government schools more attractive. And I think you know the country I'm talking about. What are some of the policies they adopted so that it doesn't matter whether you went to a government school or a private school? I
think putting, one is the standard. You are ensuring that the standards of the public schools are at the same level with the private schools, making sure that we are all citizens. There is no element of creating classism at such a young level of life. Because once you create classism just from school level, it is going to be difficult for someone to switch to a new class. And this is the biggest challenge we are facing today, is that classism where someone knows that I'm underprivileged from primary.
Because of the school I went to. I've seen that.
You're even afraid to even stand in front of people to tell them I studied from this school.
That's right.
And that is because we have created that society for ourselves.
But Jerome, hasn't classism always been here? I mean...
Okay, it has always been here. But imagine, Olive, you're standing in, let's say you've been to a UPE school,
and then someone
it has been also performing at the same rate with, let's say, you know, the other big schools, mentioned to say maybe Uganda Matters Namugongo, and you come out and say, I'm also from, let's say, this government-aided school, you will also boost around. But if I told you you've come from a school deep in the village and someone comes out and says, okay, I'm from
Kasokoso,
and then someone says, I'm from Uganda Matters Namugongo, everyone will look at the one from Namugongo in a very different way. So this is something that the government needs to work on. So
improve the standards of government schools.
Because most of these issues are because of the poverty levels. People cannot afford some of the small basics needed. But unless we empower the communities and then also empower these parents, maybe then there will be a chance we control the numbers of dropouts.
Well, that's an interesting perspective, both from Robert Chirabo and then Jerome Paul. And for me, this is my parting shot. There was a time when it didn't matter which school you went to, whether you were in a school in northern Uganda, eastern or western, or even central Uganda, all of us had the same quality of education. And back in the day, when results came out for national exams, they would say Jerome Paul was the best in the country. Why? Because we were competing at an even level. But today, with the classism, it's very hard for someone who comes from a certain private school to beat someone that comes from a government school, a UPE or USE school. And the big question is, why are there these inequalities in our education system? And like Jerome said, this is where the government has to be held accountable. Now, this conversation has come to an end here, but we can continue going with it on our X platform. The hashtag is UBCGMU. Join the conversation. Let's continue finding solutions to the rate of school dropouts.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo,
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Mascari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archived stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Juko.
Yo.
Check the shopping, man. What's your secret?
Haven't you heard of the Parish Development Model PDM?
Yes, I did, but I thought it was just a talk.
No, it is real. I and a few friends together formed a circle, accessed money from the PDM, invested in a portrait project, and now things are moving.
Juko. I thought I was one of your friends.
You are.
But you left me behind.
I didn't leave you in poverty. What you do, just visit your LC2 chairperson and your parish chief and start the process of economic transformation. Just like that. The Parish Development Model is an initiative from the government of Uganda through the Ministry of Local Government designed to transform all lives of Ugandans for the better. PDM, my parish, my development, my life.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Yes, you are most welcome to Sempaya Hot Springs once again. And as I told you that Sempaya Hot Springs are gender sensitive, we started our views and walks from the male hot spring. Now we're ending up here. This is the magnificent female hot springs. You can see, most beautiful, none of this kind in this country other than Semuliki National Park. So when you hear, I told you that the male's hot spring, the other side is extremely very hot. But again, when you come to the female, it's also not that cold, it's really hot. The temperatures ever recorded here, the highest has been 103 degrees Celsius. Very high temperatures. When it is hot, even your phone might reject taking a photograph. It's very important that we know that the hot spring environment is very fragile, so you are always advised to keep along the boardwalks and as guided by your guide, because the water, once you slip off, you are likely to get burnt. So observe the rules and regulations and make sure that safety first. As I told you, the other side, when the Bamaga were moving around trying to look for Bitente, who is the person traditionally who disappeared from the site of the male, and this side, the wife of Bitente, called Nsimbi, went looking for his husband, and the husband disappeared. And when people searched for her, for Bitente, and then the wife also searched for the husband, equally the two people disappeared. The female ended up disappearing from these places. They looked around, and fortunately one lucky person landed on the remains of the female. That one who is called Nyansimbi. Nyansimbi means associated with money. So what happens in tradition, in the culture of the Bamaga people? The Bamaga people believe that the ancestors stay here. The Sempaya Hot Springs is the headquarters of the ancestors of Bamaga. So annually, when these guys get problems, when they have low yields, when they have a lot of ailments, unexplained challenges, there's a very low productivity, they say the ancestors are very disappointed. What they do, they come here and prepare for appeasement. They organize goats, chicken, all kinds of food. But they are very careful. The females will only come on the female side. The males will go to the male side and slaughter the he-goats, the cocks on the other side of the male. But on the side of the female, they will bring only the she-goats and then the chicken, and make sure that they don't mix up the gender. As you can see, this place is spacious. It gives an opportunity for visitors, however many they are, to congregate, to be able to enjoy, to prepare food as much as they can and interact. That's what the mother does in the home, is always preparing for the family. So the female springs here also does the same. You are able to prepare your food, interact, even be able to, you know, touch the water, which you cannot do at the male hot spring. So the Bamaga do carry out an annual event of appeasing to their ancestors by making sacrifices. And after making sacrifices, the barred women will be able to produce very well, the yields will increase, all the family problems traditionally will disappear. So as Uganda Wealth Authority, we believe in people's culture, we promote cultural tourism, and we have supported the Bamaga to always go through their rituals. And please, I request the Ugandans that this is the only site in this country where you can do all these things and visit. Besides that, this water is very, very curative. It is a healing center naturally, where you can be able to come even if you have malaria. Please, we don't tell you that we only come here to treat malaria. First go for treatment, but then to remove the remains of the drugs you come here. Because you are going to sweat and your body will be so nice. Very free massage. And you will also prepare free natural food from here. You boil eggs, there's salt in it. You boil ruombo, we have Sempaya ruombo, where you only organize your food, immerse it in the hot water. It's ready for you. Meat, chicken, 1 hour. By the time you come back from your activities, everything is wow, well cooked, nice aroma. Please come and enjoy this as Ugandans. You are most welcome to the Female Springs.
As we come to the end of our journey through Semuliki National Park, and particularly Sempaya Hot Springs, we are left in awe of the natural wonders that are here. The place is so much endowed in beautiful landscapes, the hot springs, the nature, the green lush, like everything is super amazing. And it is one place that is calling you. It is becoming several tourists from different parts of the world. However, it is interesting to know that the numbers of tourists coming into this country, say in a year, if you get like 30,000 tourists to the park, we have at least 90% of these tourists bringing the East African residents. So that is amazing that we, the East Africans and Ugandans, we are embracing the beauty that we have in the country. So if you're this one Ugandan who has not yet embraced exploring Uganda, I don't know what you're waiting for, because it is this perfect time when tourism is so much booming and also growing at a very fast rate that you need to embrace such activities and travel around Uganda, explore the beautiful parks that we have, and come to Sempaya Hot Springs. I am Irene Allen Amisan. This is the GMTV Express. Catch you tomorrow.
Well, good morning and good to have you here on Good Morning Uganda. It's now a new week and the last day of the month of September, meaning tomorrow we shall be back in the new month with fresh energy and of course officially counting down days till the end of the year. But first off, we start off with a report coming in from the Uganda Coffee Development Authority that has indicated that Uganda made yet another record-breaking results of earning $221.6 million US dollars. That is approximately 820 billion from the exports, 820 billion Ugandan shillings from the exports. It is also important to note that even the earnings of July, which were at a tune of $210 million, were a record breakers, the highest monthly earnings ever. But this heading out there to 221 is an increment of about 11 million US dollars after just 1 month. Now, considering that even these earnings of June were a record breaker, are then adding 11 million to a tune of 221 from earnings of our exports from the side of coffee, means that we are on the right trajectory as a country. Now, these above figures imply that in the last 3 months, Uganda has even earned a total of 594 million US dollars, which is equivalent to 2.2 trillion Ugandan shillings. And according to the report, a total of 837,915 60 kilo bags of coffee valued at 221.63 million US dollars were exported in August 2024 at an average price of 4.41 kilos. That is 4.41 US dollars per kilo, and then which is higher than 4.27 US dollars per kilo that was recorded in the month of July. Now, this is an increment of 13.15% and 82.98% in quantity and value, respectively, compared to the same of figures that were recorded in July. Now, please do note, international trade exports indicate that Brazil, which is the world's leading producer of coffee, earned about 9.8 billion US dollars from coffee exports. That was last year, and Vietnam came in second with 4.4 billion US dollars. Now, Vietnam has an ambitious target of boosting coffee production to be able to earn more than 6 billion from coffee exports by 2030. And of course, while opening the second G25 African Coffee Summit at Peak Resort Munyonyo last year, President Yoweri Museveni urged the African coffee producing countries to embrace value addition in order to maximize the benefits from the coffee industry. And of course, he has been pushing for value addition, especially in agriculture, in the agricultural sector, also pushing for value addition in our coffee industry as a country. He did note that out of the 460 billion global coffee value, that is 460 billion US dollars coffee value, the coffee producing countries only take 25 billion, and Africa unfortunately gets 2.4 billion dollars, with 845 million US dollars going to Uganda, because we are now producing 8 million. That is 60 kilogram bags, according to the president's statement last year. Well, but of course, with these earnings growing each other month, we can only hope for the best over the upcoming years. Now, we cross to the international scene because besides that, India's diamond industry is struggling to stave off the war impact. And of course, more details coming in have revealed that the governor of more details coming in have revealed that Nikuj Tak, a worker in the world's diamond polishing capital Surat in western India, had been desperate since losing his job in May. Now, the unit he worked for 7 years was facing a financial squeeze and closed down, leaving him and over a dozen others unemployed. And of course, when you look at his family, he has been a breadwinner, and he's representing a number of breadwinners in India who have lost due to the India diamond industry, which is struggling. Now, India's exports of cut and polished stones fell from $23 billion in 2022 to $16 billion in 2023, and are expected to drop further to $12 billion in 2024. And the revolution underway in India's diamond industry has seen a debt-ridden India laborer digging up diamond worth $95,000 but earning less. Now, the Statist Diamond Workers Union, a group representing polishers, told BBC that more than 30,000 have lost their jobs in the past 6 months alone due to the downturn, especially in diamond in India. Now, experts say that COVID-19 lockdown, the Russia-Ukraine and Israel-Gaza wars, and failing demand in key markets have adversely impacted India's diamond industry. Now, that said, lastly, from our business updates, is we're heading to California because the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, has blocked a landmark artificial intelligence safety bill, which had faced strong opposition from major technology companies. And the proposed legislation would have imposed some of the first regulations on artificial intelligence in the US. Now, Newsom said that the bill could stifle innovation and prompt artificial intelligence developers to move out of the state. Now, on the other side, Senator Scott Weiner, who authored the bill, said that the veto allows companies to continue developing an extremely powerful technology without any government oversight. Now, the bill would also have required the most advanced artificial intelligence models to undergo safety testing. It would have faced developers to ensure their technology included a so-called kill switch. Now, a kill switch would allow organizations to isolate and effectively switch off artificial intelligence systems if they had become a threat. Now, we sum it up with the updates from the Forex market, close of business Saturday. This is courtesy of the central bank, and starting off, the US dollar was buying at 3,687.00, was selling at 3,697.00. The US dollar was closing time buying at 3,687.05, while selling at 3,697.05. The Great Britain pound was buying at 4,934.01, while selling at 4,947.39. The euro was buying at 4,116.59, while selling at 4,127.76. The Kenyan shilling was buying at 28.58, while selling at 28.66. The Tanzanian shilling was buying at 1.35, while selling at 1.35. And the South African rand was buying at 204.106, while selling at 204. While selling at 214.64. And well, chances are more likely that you will find the Forex market selling this way, or rather the Ugandan shilling faring this way on the exchange this Monday morning. With that, that is business this Monday. Olive Monica Najuma is here with the traffic updates.
Well, it is 10 minutes to the hour of 8 o'clock, and right about now we go through our traffic updates for the day. I'm Olive Monica Najuma, and we will start at the Namasuba Kampala Entebbe roundabout. Here we are looking at the Zana roundabout, and what I see there is a traffic situation that is starting to build up, and those coming in from Suna Road, right before you join Zana roundabout, you will experience traffic jam. Now, moving forward with the same route, Kampala Entebbe Highway, we have smooth flow of traffic just after the Zana roundabout, and going ahead as we approach areas of Najanankumbi, now we start to experience traffic jam. I see traffic jam in the areas of Zana, Serunkuma, C1 is bringing in a bit of traffic jam. Those coming in from Nyanama Road, it is very smooth. There is smooth flow of traffic there, but right where Nyanama Road joins the main Entebbe Kampala Road, now we start experiencing traffic jam in different phases and from certain feeder routes. Continuing with still Entebbe Road, now I see that the traffic situation is actually getting out of hand along Entebbe Kampala Highway. Wamala Road is bringing in some bit of traffic jam, feeding it into the Kampala Entebbe Road, and continuing with the same, there is still intense traffic jam on the route from Najanankumbi up until you reach the roundabout in Chibuye. So from Najanankumbi up to the roundabout in Chibuye, you are going to encounter intense traffic jam coming through from that side. Now, those coming in from the side of Mengo Ring Road, I see a bit of traffic jam joining the roundabout at Chibuli. I beg your pardon, the roundabout at Chibuye. And for those coming in from Mobutu Road, a bit of traffic jam joining the roundabout in Chibuye. Now coming through with Queensway, Here we have smooth flow of traffic coming through, but when I look at other roads around like Mutebi Road, here we have some traffic jam coming through. Katwe Road is still closed off. There are still roadworks ongoing, as you can see there. We have roadworks going on, so that's a route you should not consider. But the other routes are pretty good and they are working. Queensway is bringing traffic jam into the roundabout over there, as we see that Nsambia Road also has some traffic jam coming through. Now looking at the other intersections around Queensway, there is traffic jam coming through from Kafumbe Mkasa Road, and I see that Siki Road also has traffic jam over there, and overall around downtown Kampala, around Entebbe Road or where it starts, you will experience some traffic jam. I see some traffic jam along Kuruma Road. Loom Street is pretty clear since it is a non-motorized route, and then Kampala Road has a smooth flow of traffic. Well, that does it for our traffic situation, but what you can see on your screen, that is footage of how the traffic situation looks like in Najanankumbi. And for those that are coming through to Kampala, you will encounter intense traffic jam. I've noticed that in some places it is rather intense that cars are not moving, but in others there is traffic jam, but there is at least movement. So plan your route today, plan well so that you don't lose a lot of time on the road. And I'll be back with the same updates tomorrow. We'll find another route and see how you'll get to your place of business. But for today, I wish you luck.
Live from UPC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo, baby, don't know.
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all networks. Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000. Or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21# and select daily, or use the My MTN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
In a nation hungry for truth, a world where every story matters, there exists a beacon of trust and reliability. For decades, they've been our voice and our window to the world, holding the mirror of our history. With 4 TV stations and 11 radio channels spanning 27 languages, they stand as guardians of information, defenders of truth. With Maskari Heritage Advantage, they uphold every citizen's right to reliable and free information. Their archive stories shaped our past and illuminate our present. Yet now, as new challenges arise and the world evolves, their mission faces its greatest test yet. Be part of our journey and let's navigate the unknown, uncover the untold, and safeguard our future together. Tune into your public broadcaster, for it is the intersection of trust and truth. Because to UBC, your story, every story, and every voice matters. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Amaina gange ninze tusuubira lyaga Margaret. Ndi Munawanyago Tailors Association Sako ey'emyoga. Tuli batunzi ba byalaani. So ife nga Nawanyago Sako twafunako emiliyoni 8 era bagiire nga badiiza mpola mpola ate nga bwe bongera n'okusavinga ku era akasente ako katuyambyeku katutoola ku wetwali katwongeraku eidaala okusobola okweyamba n'okwesitula mu maka gaife n'okulabirira famire gaife. Era tutwala omukisa guno okwebaza gavumenti yaife eya Muzeeyi Museveni Yoweri Kaguta Tibuwabulwa olw'okutuyamba ife abantu abawansi.
Improving eyesight involves adopting healthy habits and practices that support overall eye health. While these suggestions may not guarantee significant improvements, they can contribute to maintaining good eye health. Number 1, eat a nutrient-rich diet. Consume foods rich in vitamins A, C, and E, as well as minerals like zinc and copper. These nutrients support eye health and may help prevent age-related vision problems. Foods like carrots, spinach, kale, and fish are beneficial. Number 2, stay hydrated. Proper hydration is essential for overall health, including eye health. Drink an adequate amount of water each day. Number 3, protect your eyes from UV rays. Wear sunglasses that block UV rays to protect your eyes from harmful sun exposure. Prolonged UV exposure can contribute to cataracts and other eye issues. Number 4, follow the 20-20-20 rule. To reduce eye strain from prolonged screen time, follow the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for at least 20 seconds. Number 5, maintain a healthy lifestyle. Regular exercise, not smoking, and maintaining a healthy weight are factors that contribute to overall well-being, including eye health. Number 6, get adequate sleep. Ensure you get enough quality sleep, as lack of sleep can contribute to eye fatigue and strain. Number 7, limit screen time. Reduce prolonged exposure to digital screens. If you work on a computer, take regular breaks to rest your eyes. Number 8, quit smoking. Smoking is linked to an increased risk of age-related macular degeneration and cataracts. Quitting smoking can improve overall eye health. Number 9, manage stress. Chronic stress can contribute to eye strain. Practice stress management techniques such as meditation, yoga, or deep breathing exercises. Number 10, regular eye exams. Schedule regular eye exams with an eye care professional. Regular checkups can help detect any issues early on. Number 11, stay hygienic. Practice good hygiene to prevent eye infections. Avoid touching your eyes with unwashed hands. Number 12, use proper lighting. Ensure adequate and comfortable lighting when reading or working to reduce eye strain. It's important to note that while these practices support eye health, they may not reverse existing vision problems. If you experience significant changes in your vision or have concerns about your eyesight, consult with an eye care professional for a thorough examination and appropriate advice. This program is produced by Sani Productions, powered by UBC TV, inspiring Uganda.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Thus, new UBC-TV, welcome to Good Morning Uganda Agenda. I'm Robert Cherabonyonyitono, and this morning we are going to do some bit of politics. Now, we are approaching to 2026 when we will be having our general elections. So much is happening. People in the political atmosphere are cooking, are boiling, are making sure that the best man takes the day. Now, NRM launched what they called the NRM Voter Protection Exercise. Now, what entails in this? I have two young lads with me. I have Rugumayo Ray, who is a member, Rugumayo Roy, who is a member of the NRM. Most welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, dear host, and our viewers. You're most welcome to this show, and I am hopeful that we are going to have great deliberations.
And at the extreme end, I have Ninsima Gakibayo, who happens to be a political analyst, a lawyer, and an NRM cadre as well. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning, sir. I'm happy to be here. I greet everybody who's watching us from wherever you are. And I congratulate whoever has got something good this morning, and glory be to God. I also take the opportunity to pass my condolences and sympathies to those who have lost their dear ones, especially the Amoria people, and you, the Fourth Estate, for the loss of the late Emuriot, and the Teso region for the loss of our brother. I remember he was a PPS to the His Excellency the President. So I want also to pass the condolences to His Excellency and the nation for that loss, and whoever has lost a dear one. So I pray that God comforts you all. I wish you a nice discussion.
Well, may the souls of those that have departed rest in eternal peace. Now, moving forward, we want to look at the topic of today. I want to start with you, Nisima.
Yes, sir.
2026 is not far from us. Anytime we shall be there, the way time flies. You can't believe we've just started 2024, and here we are. Just a few months left to the end of the month. Now, when NRM comes out at such a time and says voter protection is something we must emphasize on, one may say, is it too early? And what is this that really was launched? What are we, how is it going to be done? That is another question also. Because one would say even before, yes, you registered your voters, NRM members, I remember you moved around registering them.
In the yellow books.
In the yellow books.
Close to 18 million Ugandans.
Now, let's go to this exercise.
Yeah, I want to thank you for this topical discussion. And also I want to tell you that it is true, we are approaching 2026. And so as a party, or the NRM party, like any other political party, we are, first of all, doing great mobilization to see that we have all our subscribers and Ugandans embrace to our call. Secondly, the voters protection identification exercise was launched by the office of the national chairman, that is Chambogo, headed by Hajati Namyaro Hadija, and who doubles to be also the political head at the ONC Chambogo. But majorly, I think that was September 25th. That it was officially launched, and the chief guest was the Haj Moses Chugongo. But the idea of launching this vote protectors identification individuals, Ugandans from the village, sub-county, aged 25 to 40 years, was one, to safeguard the electoral process that we are nearing into of the 2026, and the general election which is ahead of us, 2026. But also the whole idea is built from His Excellency's message. I remember when we were in Munyonyo at the Security and Defense Expo. Remember His Excellency came out and mentioned it categorically clear that the National Unity Platform leaded our votes in the last concluded elections of 2021, close to 1 million, votes. So some people didn't take this message maybe as serious. Others were saying, Mzee is just, this is a political message. Why is he bringing it right now? And, we are approaching elections and the next elections.
Which was also hard to believe by many people.
Yes.
But how do you reach an incumbent?
But for us in the NRM, it was a great message in the party, in the and all the cadres, to say that if maybe the National Unity Platform penetrated and reached 1 million votes, and Mzee has mentioned it, so it is a wake-up call for us now. And we sit in the party and say, what do we do ahead of the 2026? So the idea was proposed by the ONC, Office of the National Chairman in Chambogo, that no, let's identify Ugandans from the villages, sub-counties, those who will protect the 2026 votes. And let them be identified, trained as we prepare for 2026. So majorly that has been the idea of building all these, the vote protectors, vote protectors, to see that at least in 2026, we don't encounter the same that Mzee mentioned in 2021, the National Unity Platform that leads the elections. Also, Mr. Robert and the viewers, you will agree with me that we have got chaos and instabilities in many countries where there has been vote leaking. So when the president comes out and mentions about the vote leaking, we cannot just take it lightly. It is an issue that we have to concentrate on and also safeguard the next electoral process, that whatever mistakes happened the other time should not come and be a topical discussion.
Well, Nisima, you could have the facts and say the facts, but it's too hard to believe. Now, reason one.
Yes.
With all the structures that are involved to secure a vote, what more do we need? For example, it's protecting your vote. At every polling station, NRM has never failed to have enough and even more polling agents there. Other political parties have failed. We've reached areas where they don't have a polling agent, but not NRM. It has had more and plus. Two, this nature of Sebri groupings in most elections have done us more harm than good. Because, government, through the Electoral Commission, through police, through other security agencies, ensures that votes are protected, ensures that there is smooth running. Now, these who are not polling agents, who are not polling constables, those that are inside their ring and they hold no gun, maybe a baton, what is going to be their modus operandi, if not confusion?
Yeah, I've in my preamble, I told you that the exercise of identifying these voters protectors is to first of all ensure that there is sanity in the electoral process, and also the comprehensive plan to end this malpractice of the electoral process. But upon their identifications, these people are trained and so oriented and given their mandate. Because we have had challenges where we have electoral process organized somewhere and some other people, we don't even know where they come from, come in and disorganize. Others even masquerade to be agents of putting on capes and t-shirts that me, I'm an agent here, so they confuse that electoral process and it does not go well. So now, this exercise that is going to bring sanity, we are saying no, time has ended where everybody is just walking in the electoral exercise as if it is a market state. So let's have it organized and have those who are going to protect the votes identified and also work hand in hand with the security agencies and the local leaders also to be identified, because we are going to identify them from their own villages and also sub-counties. So maybe something else that I've not mentioned is that the Office of the National Chairman, Chambogo, has what we call coordinators in every district. And those coordinators are going to identify the very people working hand in hand with the local authorities. So I don't think we are going to still encounter or have these malpractices in the Electoral Commission. But we are aiming at ensuring a comprehensive plan of bringing sanity and also helping this country, that we should not have any excuse of the electoral malpractices. So I think it is a good plan, will help the country and also the Electoral Commission as well, to have the genuine results announced.
Now, I'll be coming back to you on that very issue because it could be a good idea, and indeed, one would say, but one would wonder, then what happens? Are these also non-partisan? The truth is, these will be NRM members. I want to bring in Roy here. You've listened to our brother articulating and stating what these people are going to be doing. But let's look at a time where we're in a multi-party dispensation, because indeed we are. Now, these are heated times. And we know that even party colors are not allowed within the polling zone. If you're coming to cast a vote, if you're NUP, your red remains. Now, with such people in existence, how are we going to ensure, because they're coming for a good cause, but how are we going to ensure that we maintain peace? And also, a polling station is like a sacred place. That befitting environment of a polling station.
Well, thank you so much. The election or the electoral process is more like a river which has a beginning and an end. And to think that a political party must perhaps look at the end of the river as the ultimate is quite illogical. So I commend the NRM for beginning where it should begin. And by saying voter protection, I think what we are missing is that the president and the party are making a statement of victory to start with, that their message has been and will continue to be compelling and acceptable to the voters, that the voters are there and have been registered. What we are simply waiting for is to protect our victory from any hindrance that may come from non-revolutionary actions like vote rigging and any such scenarios. Now, the mandate of these two people per village and per sub-county, later it will go the sub-county structures will recommend parish structures, and it will go to even polling stations. Their mandate will not necessarily be within the designated polling area, but because that's not the only place where voter protection happens. The vote can be rigged even beyond the box. The voter bribery can happen on the way to the polling station, and that in itself is vote rigging. Voter intimidation can happen even months to the election, and that in itself is vote rigging. So by when the president says 1 million of his votes were rigged, he doesn't perhaps necessarily mean we need to take it to a wider context. It doesn't necessarily mean votes were thrown into the ballot boxes, but the intimidation that happened within some areas that caused his voters not to turn up to the polling area, the bribery that might have happened in the weeks or months leading to the general election, that in itself is a hindrance to people turning up to vote, and that is vote rigging. So these people are the 2 people, 24 to 40 years per village, are to carry out voter civic engagement of the voters of President Museveni, to push his message, because the campaign time won't be sufficient to run around the country, but he needs agents to be moving around door to door, and the mandate of these people is as wide as that. Now, the NRM has a very huge infrastructure because we are a party that believes in broad-based democracy. Our infrastructure is as big as the youth structure on the village, the women's structure on the village, the persons with disability, even the elderly on every village. So these 2 are an addition to an already existing wide infrastructure that will send in the message of the president and mobilization for the party from the presidential level to the MP level to all local government levels, to have our manifesto discussed at every village station, to have our message reach every person that we are looking at for the next election. And between now and then, the mobilization is happening, the identification is happening, as my comrade here has mentioned, and this is good for the party and for the wider democratic dispensation of the country. This is what every party should be doing.
Well, this is what every party should be doing. Now, where do these people report to, and where are they going to be reporting to, and the authority? For example, if you talked about election, it's an entire process. If there is an illegality happening, when this person identifies themselves to security, I mean, how does one, what power do they hold? And I want to put this to my brother, who articulated so much regarding these people. I want to look at the authority, the source of authority, and how applicable is it in a halted period. He talked about the, for example, campaigns, some that if the opponent is campaigning beyond time and they feel this is, it has another way that can be termed as vote rigging, because it's very broad. Vote rigging is very broad. It's not just that you stuff the ballot and all that. So if a police constable or a police officer came and told people that no, he has authority, isn't it?
Yes.
If Secretary General of a party, if now these voter protectors, 2 per village, their strength, their weight.
Yeah, you see, the office of the national chairman of Chambogo derives its mandate from from Mzei's office as the national chairman of our party. I want you to differentiate between the secretariat, that is the NRM secretariat, and the ONC. That's the office of the national chairman that is situated in Chambogo, headed by Hajat Namiaro. So this one gets assignments directly from the president.
From the party chairman.
That's the party chairman. Yes, who doubles as the president of this country. Now, the secretariat has a constitution that is the derives its mandate from the NRM constitution, and basically for administration and mobilization. Okay, but that does not entirely mean that also the ONC does not involve in mobilization, for as long as the assignments are being given by the party chairman to them. Now, the voters protection individuals who have been identified or which process is ongoing, they are not going to work alone. We are all fulfilling the same manifesto of the NRM. Okay? If Mzei says, you people, there is vote rigging that was witnessed in 2021, we cannot just hold hands and sit down and say, Mzei has mentioned, and then we just look on. So it means these people are coordinating with other stakeholders, with law enforcement agencies, because you mentioned it that now somebody is rigging votes and this voter protector is there looking. What is he going to do? You said a police constable can stop them. How about this one? We are saying after identifying them, they are going to work hand in hand with other law enforcement agencies and other stakeholders to ensure that there is a comprehensive exercise of not witnessing or hearing about the vote rigging in any village or any sub-county or parish. Now, it is also their duty to inform that in my area B or in my area C, there is this. Actually, they are going to be coordinating because the police constable cannot work alone. As police, they have to work with the other relevant stakeholders to see that the law and order is put to, is maintained actually. So, may I think this exercise, being that it is the first of its own, I want to tell Ugandans who are watching us this morning that it is going to bring sanity.
Nisima, that no doubt, it may bring sanity. But still one wonders if there is any party, the mass party, NRM, is very rich with structures right from grassroots. What is the missing gap that these people are coming to feel? You have structures from village. At least these are some where I've had strength in understanding and even admiring how organized you are. Sometimes, yes, there could be challenges, but I must say it's well structured, deeply rooted. What is that these that are there cannot do, that necessitated this super village?
The identification process is based on qualifications also, because we are saying those at the village level don't have the same qualifications, academic qualifications, with those at the sub-county. Because at the sub-county we need those ones of the advanced level, or it is equivalent. But at the village level, we are saying let's identify individuals with a minimum academic qualification of O level or ordinary certificate. Now, why do we, based on the academic qualifications, and why do we identify them from the academic background? One, I am saying after the identification process, these people have to be oriented. These people have to be trained. Now, the trainers or the facilitators don't come from the NRM party only, but we have even the electoral commission. The facilitators will come and talk to these people that once an electoral exercise has kicked or has started, this is what is entailed. Okay, we have the CLOs, the community liaison officers of the police, and we have the heads of police stations who will come and talk to these people, so that we get them involved in this electoral process. They own it, so that we don't get any other excuse of the vote rigging. So that's why we are endorsing this and saying that the process start so that we don't have any other excuse in the forthcoming elections. So you mentioned it that we are in a political we are in a political season, and even the opportunists may use the same to come in and also cause chaos, cause unnecessary instability. But these people are going to be identified, and their identification will also be known to other stakeholders and relevant authorities. So we don't expect any other fluking of unidentified individuals. So that is the reason, Nyonyintono, as to why we are doing this.
Well, voter protectors being launched, the exercise began. It's ongoing to identify these people to ensure that the NRM vote is well protected. Still with the two gentlemen here, and now I want to come back to Roy. Now, when we look at electoral processes, over and over, we've not had a bad record of violence at its most, but we've still had pockets of violence. Now, these are coming to ensure that they protect a vote. But I've said it and I'll repeat it, that much as we have peaceful times, the temperatures are usually hot. And sometimes we've had, I don't want to call them brigades, those are famous. You remember with Honorable Kakoza Mutale,
yes,
who had a similar thing. These are to protect the vote. But vote protectors sometimes stand into something else. Remember that very good brigade. Yes, its mission was kind of similar to what we are discussing today. Because they are very careful. Us, we are there to protect the vote. And we shall not play or tolerate anybody. How, with such an initiative, are we going to avoid confrontation? Are we going to ensure that we have a peaceful sail through and doesn't do us more harm than good?
Well, what we are seeing is simply augmenting or strengthening or even adding more weight to existing structures, particularly within the NRM. That is why in reaching out to village structures, the chairpersons of NRM have all been informed of what is going to happen. Even at the district level, the chairpersons are aware of what is happening. Now, this is not a structure divorced from the internal workings of the NRM. And the NRM is not known to be a violent party, so this must not scare anyone that all of a sudden the outfit is going to be violent. Now, whereas they are coming from the office of the national chairman, it is an office that is established within the constitution of NRM, just like we have an office of the general secretary, an office of the publicity secretary, an office of special organs, women, youth, and so these offices are all constitutionally established to augment the party's existence. You know, the role of every political party is political power and the ability to use it to influence policy in line with its values, with its beliefs, with its manifesto. And what I am guaranteed about is that when the identification process is done, there's going to be training, as my comrade has said, and collaboration with all agencies, including the police, the Electoral Commission, to the extent of what is acceptable and what is not acceptable within an electoral process. So the Electoral Commission is going to be fully involved, the police is going to be fully involved, non-state actors like civil society is going to be involved. So this is not a brigade. This is a structure of a registered political party or movement doing politics for purposes of the parties sailing through. So there shouldn't be any fears about what could come out of this, because these are qualified people who are being identified right from 2024 and are going to be trained, are going to be coached, are going to be taught so that they are a key pillar in spreading the message of the party and in campaigning for the party candidates at all levels, and ultimately at protecting the party's win and the party chairman's win in case the party structure backs, whoever the party structure backs as the candidate for the presidency. That process is also yet to kick off. So there shouldn't be fears from the public and from the media. We shouldn't peddle any kind of fear, because the NRM is a party of democracy, and what we are doing internally is to show our commitment to this democracy, and in as broad-based as it can be. As you've heard and as you are aware, this structure starts from the village. And as I said, this is what every political party should be doing. The politics shouldn't be played only at the party headquarters. I know some people who are waiting to go to their party headquarters so that they can get party tickets to run for MP and other positions. And whereas in the NRM, all this is going to come from the village. The people, the masses are going to come out and vote for whoever they believe is the rightful candidate, and that is the person that is going to be fronted for party candidature, and the structure is being put in place for purposes of campaigning on the party platform and protecting the party vote from the 18 million registered members of the party and others that we shall sway to our side because of our message of progress that we shall be sending out in this coming election.
Well, we just wait for time to tell. But I see time seems to be flying. However, Nisima, let's talk about the system of selecting these people. Is it a voluntary thing? Are they going to be earning something? Are we picking them from the structures? Are we picking members? Because this is sometimes where even infights storm from. Yes.
Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, that the ONC, or the Office of the National Chairman, has coordinators in every districts, the ONC coordinators. And in line to that, we have given them the mandate to coordinate with the sub-county chairpersons, because at the sub-county we have the NRM chairpersons, even at the village level we have the NRM chairpersons, not the chairpersons of the area, but the chairpersons of the party, of the NRM. Now they are going to coordinate with them to identify those very individuals, because we don't want intruders. An intruder does not know what is happening in their villages or in the district, because we have had scenarios of chaos. I remember in a district called Sembabure, where there was, you know, we were in the party structures electoral process, and there was a lot of chaos. It was witnessed everywhere.
Sodo and shirts.
Yes. Even Rwamiyaga, where Honorable Theodore Sechikubu comes from. We have had this. We have had problems in Kasese, I think. Yeah, Kasese. So, but when we came to interrogate, some say that these people come from away, or they come from other areas and come, you know, intrude as intruders, and they infringe the process and bring chaos in the electoral process. So we are saying no, time is now. Let's identify the inborns, those from the village, the parish, and the sub-county. Because we are sure that coordinating with these, the local authorities and our NRM chairpersons at every level will give us the good candidates for this VPI, the votes protection identification individuals. So that is how we have now built it, that we don't expect to have, you know, people who are not fit for the job, because the identification itself would ensure that no, somebody has been recommended by the village chairperson of the party, by the parish, and also the district chairperson of the party. Because when they bring a name like Nyonyi Ntono, for us we don't need to contest it, because they know Nyonyi Ntono lives in this area and has even the academic qualifications we are talking about, the minimum academic qualifications at the village level, that is O level, and then the sub-county, that is at least A level, or it is equivalent. So we shall have, you know, all these people identified, recruited, and be ready for the electoral exercise. Trained and, given the expertise that we expect. So I don't see any harm in that, for as long as they are being identified and the names are being given by the area local authorities. So that's the entire, you know, idea of us launching this. And also maybe another thing is that when it was launched on 25th September, the vice chairperson, that is Haji Moses Chugongo of the party, I remember giving a message that don't think you are just going there to do chaos, or you think that you are above other individuals you'll find in the electoral process. We are going to be monitoring. We are going to be, you know, ensuring that you have you are doing the right thing and in the right, you know, for the right cause, not causing chaos like it has been, or where intruders have been coming from other areas to disorganize this electoral process.
Well, Nisima, thanks for that elaborative explanation. We hope things will be as planned and move according to plan. Now, I just want to give each one of you a minute, and I'll begin with Roy here for your parting shot.
Thank you so much, and I would like to appreciate UBC for this opportunity, and call upon all members of the NRM and the general public to be very vigilant as we head into the 2026 election. We hope for a peaceful, free and fair election. We call upon all of you to participate, especially those of age, to participate in the choosing of the leaders that will take this country forward. I definitely know that when you look at all that will present themselves, you will find only one that is prepared and has the track record of keeping Uganda safe, secure, and has a vision for leading us to where this country ought to be.
Nesima, as we move out.
Yes, my brother, I want to urge to all Ugandans that as we exercise our constitutional mandate, the right to vote, that is Article 59, Clause 1, that every Ugandan has a right to vote of 18 years and above, and also Chapter 1 of the Constitution, that sovereignty of the people. Choose leaders wisely and choose those who have national interests. Because we have seen people going for electoral processes. They think this is like, you know, a wastage of time, and you know, they end up choosing leaders who have their individual interests, not the national interests. So I want to tell Ugandans that it is time to identify and also bring leaders who have this country at heart and who have the national interests of building Uganda, but not individual and self-seekers. I wish you a blessed day, and may the good Lord keep you all.
Well, I want to thank you so much, gentlemen. Nesima and Roy here. We have been looking at the launch of voter protectors by the ruling party, that is the NRM. Well, the exercise is ongoing, identifying and all this, and this is aimed at ensuring, according to them, that there is no vote rigging, but also we have a smooth sail through the election process. It began, it's moving on. 2026 is when we finally will say that yes, it is done. See you in the next hour, God willing. Have a lovely time. Keep it with us, because more is still coming your way.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC. Was brought to you by You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call